welcome back to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Steve Swat. My guest of the segment is Loni Hancock, a member of the State Senate representing the East Bay, Alameda, and Contra Costa counties. Thanks for being back with us.
It's a pleasure.
You've been here many times, and you take on a number of big controversial issues in the legislature, and quite often I think you're tilting at windmills. But you actually you were successful in the last session in terms of the majority vote to pass a budget.
Yes, we were. It was my legislation initially. Now, we did have to take it to the initiative process,
right.
Steve, but we did that and were successful. And so last year, for the first time in over a decade, we had a budget adopted on time.
But there's an ingredient missing. As you know, a majority vote can pass a budget, but a two-thirds vote is still required to raise the money for that budget.
To get any new revenue at all in the system, either fees or taxes. And that has allowed us to focus on that problem. Initially, I think many people in California were very confused about why was there gridlock. We had no budget going into the fall of the next year. Well, we now can allocate the money that we have with a majority of the legislature, and we can and will get our budgets done on time. But that really means allocating the money that we have.
Right.
If we don't have enough money to meet our obligations, we have to cut. And that is why we've been seeing the heartbreaking cuts that we made for the last 5 or 6 years. You know, we've cut $30 billion out of the state budget. That's a lot of schools, a lot of sidewalks and roads, a lot of parks, a lot of things that Californians value.
And so you have now a new crusade that's dealing with changing our tax structure, which, you know, for decades has been sacrosanct. It takes two-thirds to raise taxes. You want to make some changes.
And fees. I think we have to make changes. You know, when we invested in ourselves as a state, we were a mecca for the world and certainly for the nation. And our economy was strong. Our physical beauty, which is still there, but it's eroding. When you're in a position where you're talking about closing scores of state parks, and when, even though our population has almost doubled, we haven't started a new university to educate all these kids who would be the cornerstone of the economy. Yeah, we need more revenue, we need fees, we need to close tax loopholes. Right now, you can create a tax loophole with a simple majority vote, but it takes two-thirds to close it.
So you'd like a simple majority to close a tax loophole, such as the oil severance tax, which you considered a loophole, correct?
Well, that's actually a different kind of tax. But it is, since you raised the oil severance tax, it's interesting. California is the only oil-producing state in the United States that does not have an oil severance tax. And, you know, you go up to even Alaska, 25% oil severance tax.
So you have a number of measures that you are sponsoring and supporting that would allow fewer voters, I mean, like a majority of the legislature, for example, to put a tax increase on the ballot, and if the voters agreed with a majority, then they'd be able to pass that tax.
Yeah,
for example.
That is SCA 15. It's my legislation. It would say that a majority of the legislature could put a tax before the voters. And if a majority of voters voted for it, it would pass. Now, if we had had this last year, of course, Governor Brown could have had the vote he asked for to just extend our existing taxes. And
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time on this. We'd like to have you back and talk about these issues more in the future. Loni Hancock, thanks for being with us.
Oh, it's a pleasure as always, Steve.
And thanks to our viewers for watching Comcast Newsmakers. We'll see you next time.